Hello there, I'm Razi Ahmad and you're watching English News at 5. Let us begin with our top story. The Sarawak Security and Enforcement Unit, UKPS, under the Premier's Department has grown tremendously since its restructuring within the last 5 years. According to the Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Joharitun Openg, the additional strength in assets, infrastructure and human capital has enabled UKPS to carry out its tasks and operations on land and sea to serve the people's wishes for better security.
Abang Johari revealed that he was satisfied with the performance of UPKS since its restructuring on June 22, 2017 due to its trained and committed personnel. He said with the restructuring, UKPS will be able to complement the efforts of other security agencies statewide to manage security better. He said in a speech at the UKPS 2022 ceremonial dinner at the Sarawak State's Legislative Assembly, Zun Complex, on Monday. During the ceremony, a total of 58 UKPS officers attended the dinner themed towards a ubiquitous security. Also present at the event were the two Deputy Premiers, Dato' Amar Douglas Ugah Ambas and Dato' Sri Dr. Sim Kui Hian, Dun Speaker Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Muhammad Asfia Awang Nasar, State Secretary Dato' Sri Muhammad Abu Bakar Marzuki, and UKPS Director Dato' Dr. Chai Kin Chung.
Sarawak has recorded a total of 46 lives lost out of 52 human cases to rabies since the disease incursion into the state in July 2017, including 8 deaths this year. Now, while deaths can be averted by human vaccination, this intervention alone will never eliminate the disease and costs will only escalate over time. According to Minister of Food Industry, Commodity and Regional Development, Dato' Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi, investment in eliminating the risk of rabies at its source, dogs, is the most cost-effective measure. The vaccination of at least 70% of dogs in areas at risk is now accepted as the most effective way of preventing human rabies deaths.
But I realized that these are the things that, in fact, rabies is preventable. I repeat, actually, rabies is preventable. So therefore, all the effort that we have made or we have planned or we are going to do will be very, very useful for the future of prevention of rabies. Only one thing, all we need to do is similar to what we did for or what we are doing for COVID-19 is vaccination. If we can vaccinate for animals and so on regularly, I think that's the only way for us to solve this problem.
He said this in a speech at the Rabies in Borneo RAB Conference 2022 held in Kuching on Tuesday. At the same time, Dr. Rundi said the Sarawak government has allocated a sum of 7.07 million ringgit under the Plan of Action for Rabies Control and Elimination Program. As such, the newly established Immune Belt Enforcement Team by the Sarawak government to prevent the incursion of rabies along the Sarawak-Kalimantan border that spans over 1,200 kilometers from Lundu to Lawas.
The most alarming situation we're in, if we go to the interior part of Sarawak, not many people are really aware of this problem. So if it goes all the way into the interior, that's where our concern is. So that's why this immune belt is very important for us to be able to reach them before the virus reach them. So that is actually, I'm thankful to the government of Sarawak that they are able to notice this. Then this is not only for rabies. This is for other part of communicable diseases that we are facing in terms of virus and so on, which is between human and man, animal and man and so on.
In conjunction with the conference, he said everyone must be reminded that the World Rabies Day is also celebrated annually on September 28th to raise awareness of rabies prevention. This year's theme is Rabies, One Health, Zero Deaths. By working together, everyone can all play a role in keeping people and animals safe from rabies. This is in line with Sarawak's aim to achieve rabies-free status by 2025. For the record, a total of 222,926 animals has administered with the anti-rabies vaccination as of September 16 this year.
The search and rescue operation to locate a foreign man believed to have been involved in a crocodile attack in Sungai Sembah, Samalaju, Bintulu on September 18 has been reactivated. The operation was called off on September 24 after no leads were found in locating the missing victim. Now, a spokesperson from the Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department, when contacted, said that the operation was reactivated at the request of the Consulate of the Republic of Indonesia.
The victim has been identified as Hermanto in his 40s. On September 18, an eyewitness known as Ardian Shah, 27, told the search team that the victim was attacked by the vicious reptile and dragged to the other side of the river during the incident. According to Bintulu Fire and Rescue Department Bomba Zone Chief 1 Kamaruddin 1 Ahmad, a team from the Samalaju Fire Station was dispatched to the scene after receiving a call about the incident at 11:20 p.m.
A fire razed the home of a family of 6, including 2 children at Kampung Baru Darat, Kampung Saratok. A spokesperson from the Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department, Bomba, said no casualties were reported during the incident. However, one of the occupants suffered from chest pains due to shock and was taken to a nearby hospital.
The Saratok Fire Station received the distress call at 11:36 a.m. and immediately dispatched 11 firefighters to the scene. Firefighters sourced water from a nearby fire hydrant to control and prevent the fire from spreading. The operation ended at 12:29 p.m. Police and SESCO technicians were also at the scene to monitor the situation. The cause of the fire and amount of damages have yet to be ascertained.
Welcome back. There is fear of children becoming more exposed to sexual crimes that do not involve physical contact, like pornography, with them getting better access to smartphones and the internet. This has been the concern of the Sexual, Women and Child Investigation Division, D11, of the Royal Malaysia Police, or PDRM. Its Principal Assistant Director, ACP Siti Kamsia Hassan, said the division had been getting regular reports on sexual crimes involving child pornography.
She attributed this to, among others, the advancement in information technology, lifestyle, and internet access, especially with children now having widespread access to mobile phones and the internet. She added that online predators will establish a special relationship and then ask for nude photos and videos of the victims. These videos and photos will be spread when the victims no longer want to continue the relationship. Kamsia also revealed that this crime of sharing, grooming, asking for nude and pornographic photos and videos is becoming to be a trend. Siti Kamsia said that in 2020, the division received 24 reports on sexual crimes which were investigated under Section 509 of the Penal Code, and last year, the number increased to 35. This year, a total of 11 reports were received between January and April.
What should have been a memorial to many Japanese as the state funeral for Shinzo Abe, the country's former prime minister, turned sour when a protest broke out, going against the orchestration of the funeral. The cause is simple and justified, as the funeral cost around 1.66 billion yen or $11.6 million. Now, in July and August, more than 400,000 signatures were collected and submitted to the current Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's office against holding the event.
The funeral was held at the Nippon Budokan Hall, attended by over 13 foreign dignitaries, including U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, Prime Ministers of Australia, India, South Korea, Cambodia, and more. Many deemed the state funeral as unnecessary, as Abe was said to have links with the Unification Church, where many of its followers have been convicted for illegally obtaining money from people through the use of threats to even citing ancestral karma. This has also led to criticism of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party LDP, where 179 out of the 379 of the party lawmakers are tied to the religious group. But even with the protests, some came to mourn Abe, expressing gratitude for his contributions as the longest-serving Prime Minister of Japan.
I thought I came out early, but there were already many people queuing up. I heard the opinions toward the state funeral are divided, and there were a lot of people against it. But when it came to the day of the state funeral, many people still came here to pay their condolences.
Today is the last day to say a proper goodbye to Shinzo Abe. I went to the headquarters of the Liberal Democratic Party to pay my respects to Abe in July and also visited the site in Nara Prefecture where the incident happened. It's the last day to bid my farewell, so I must come here today. Canada will be removing all of its COVID-19 restrictions for inbound travelers starting Saturday, October 1st. This includes testing, quarantine, and isolation requirements. The decision was made as Canada has recorded a higher vaccination rate, complemented with the availability of newer vaccines and treatments.
We are announcing that the Government of Canada will not renew the order in Council that expires on September the 30th and will therefore remove all COVID-19 border requirements for all travelers entering Canada. This includes the removal of all federal testing, quarantine, and isolation requirements, as well as the mandatory submission of health information in ArriveCAN.
Even so, Duclos added that the government is prepared to reinstate restrictions if the need arises. Additionally, he reminded those who believe that COVID-19 is a propaganda should acquire knowledge for themselves by visiting the nearest hospital.
If anyone has doubts as to whether COVID-19 still exists, I would invite that person to visit a hospital anywhere in Canada. We have between 4,000 and 5,000 people hospitalized every day with COVID-19. That puts a very heavy burden on our hospital system. It's close to 10% of hospital capacity, which is currently used for looking after people with COVID-19. We also know that healthcare workers are very tired. They are exhausted, they have left in large numbers, and worryingly, many of them think of leaving in even larger numbers over the next months in Canada.
More than 90% of Canadians over 12 have taken their primary dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, while earlier this month, Canada authorized Moderna bivalent COVID-19 shots. Through the implementation of these new rulings, travelers around the world will not have to submit health information or provide proof of vaccination. The wearing of masks on planes and trains will also be dropped.
And those were the updates on TVS News at 5. I'm Razi Ahmad. Thank you for watching.